Come back, and what a way to open the season, Saints fans. It was a 27-20 win by the Saints over the Falcons. 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter by the Saints to get the victory. An absolutely incredible fourth quarter performance when things did not look so good leading up into that point. I'm Erin Summers, joined by John DeShazer, Todd Graffinini joining us in Atlanta. We could hear it. Todd, the reactions from everybody there as that quarter was unfolding?
Great. Yeah, Aaron, I think everybody here in the media room is as stunned as I am. Just an unbelievable comeback by the New Orleans Saints, down 26-10. It was still a two-score game, and the key again was holding the Falcons to that field goal to make it 26-10. You had an opportunity, and then the offense that we have been waiting for since training camp started, since the preseason, and obviously through the first half of this game here today, showed up. And you saw how potent it can be when Jameis Winston has time to throw the ball and the receivers are making the plays that they did. Michael Thomas, I mean, welcome back. Can't guard Mike, had the two big touchdowns. You get the one 2-point conversion, but the key again was you had to get that final stop, Aaron and JD, to give yourself an opportunity. And then what a catch. I think this might go unnoticed. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But that catch by Jarvis Landry to start the final drive was absolutely huge. It put you in a position where just another couple of completions would have gotten you into field goal range. And then, of course, Will Lutz doing what he does best, coming through with a clutch kick.
Great to see Lutz getting his redemption there at the end. He had a missed field goal earlier in the game. But JD, all three phases really seemed to click there in the fourth quarter. What stood out to you?
Well, that pretty much was it. They hurried up the offense. They weren't able to protect Jameis Winston earlier in the game. They hurried it up, kind of alleviated that, maybe slowed down the Falcons' pass rush a little bit. But as you mentioned, the only quarter that they played complimentary football all the way around, all three phases. You get the game-winning field goal from Will Lutz. You get a couple of defensive stops. And, of course, Jameis Winston, once they hurried up in the offense, I thought he was just excellent. You know, there's going to be some kinks, obviously. The guy missed most of last year. But to see it kind of come to fruition in that quarter gives you an idea of what the Saints can do offensively. Now, you won't play hurry up every game, all game, but now you get an understanding of what they have offensively.
We're waiting on head coach Dennis Allen, his first win as Saints head coach in his first game as the head coach. I'm sure it was a very exciting locker room to be a part of there, so we'll listen to his thoughts as soon as he joins Todd there in the media room in Atlanta. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say after that one. He was not pleased at halftime, and rightfully so. It took a while for the Saints to get going in this one. What do you think was the biggest issue? Was it Winston needing to get stuff out quicker? Was it the offensive line? Was it what the Falcons were doing defensively?
Well, it was a little bit of all of that, a combination of all of that. And then defensively, they couldn't get stops on the ground. If a team can run against you, you can't stop anything because everything is at their disposal. If you can't stop the run, you are at their mercy. And they couldn't stop the Falcons' run for 3 quarters, and they were at the Falcons' mercy. Fortunately, they were able to find that in the fourth quarter. But offensively, when Jameis Winston had a little bit of time, you know, you could see the lack of chemistry between he and the receivers. And then he didn't have a lot of time. Some guys missed some blitz pickup and those kinds of things. So you have those issues that you have to work through. He didn't play a lot in preseason. Michael Thomas didn't play at all in the preseason. He didn't get a lot of work with those, you know, either Jarvis Landry or Chris Olave. And then you get into a game situation, and now suddenly you've got to find that chemistry when you need it the most. And, you know, kudos to their professionalism to be able to put it together when they had to have it.
We just talked about the offense a little bit, JD. But yeah, Todd, go for it.
Yeah, well, no, JD's exactly right. And you think about it, when they lined up in the first quarter, that was the first time that the what you would call starting offense had been intact in all of the positions. You're talking about offensive line. You're talking about Alvin Kamara in the backfield. You're talking about Michael Thomas. I'm just waiting on DA here, but you're talking about Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Jarvis Landry all on the field at the same time. That had not happened once in any practice or in any preseason game, especially in the preseason. Now, you did get some team periods, but remember, Jameis missed 2 weeks. I think that shouldn't go unnoticed. Jameis missed 2 weeks in the preseason and did not practice against the Green Bay Packers in those joint practices. So obviously, the timing and the chemistry has to keep going with Jameis and Michael Thomas. But again, fortunately for Saints fans, we found it just in the nick of time in that fourth quarter.
You mentioned Jameis Winston missing those 2 weeks with the right foot sprain. Well, he comes back, and then Michael Thomas is out with the hamstring injury
Correct.
that he had late in camp. So, yeah, a lot of key players not able to get a lot of reps together throughout camp. So good to see that they ironed the wrinkles out as the game went on. Todd, I saw you tweet something about Pete Werner getting back in action today. The first time we actually saw him take some real reps was in this game. He looked great.
Huge for Werner, and again made some plays down the stretch. Again, those plays on third down at the end of the ball game in the fourth quarter to force the Falcons to give the ball up and give the offense an opportunity to not only cut into the lead big time, but to ultimately take the lead on that Will Lutz field goal.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Was
Okay,
everything. Good. But again, it really is amazing, Aaron, if you think about it, because Pete Werner hasn't played at all. I mean, has not played at all in the preseason, and for him to come up big the way he did was huge, especially in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, when you circle back to a graph, think about it. Last year, they had Quan Alexander on this team. This offseason, they decided not to pursue Quan Alexander, mostly because of Pete Werner, because of the way he played last year. And he really kind of bridged last year from to this year. They need him. They have Demario Davis, but they need Pete Werner to be the Pete Werner that we saw today.
Pete Werner led all defenders with
DA.
11 tackles and 1 tackle for a loss. We're going to listen in to head coach Dennis Allen now.
Look, I said this a couple weeks ago. You guys asked me about the team, and look, our team is tough and gritty, and that's what I love about them, and that's exactly the way they played in this game tonight. It wasn't perfect. There's a ton of things that we got to get cleaned up. I told them all in there, look, enjoy the win, but have tough skin tomorrow. Because we're not going to win a lot of games playing the way that we did today. We're going to have to play a lot better if we expect to be the type of team that we think we can be. And so, but I'm proud of the way that they fought. They competed all the way to the end. We got a little something going when we got into a little bit more of a 2-minute type of mode with the offense and got a little rhythm going. So look, I'm happy that we won the game. A lot of things that we got to get cleaned up, and we'll get back to work tomorrow and see if we can't get them cleaned up.
What was kind of the advantage you guys were able to get going into the corner type offense?
Look, I don't know. I think we just kind of got into a little bit of a rhythm and got them in a little bit of a cover 2 initially. On the first, call it 2-minute drive, we hit a couple of balls down the field, and then they began to try to pressure us a little bit more as we kind of stayed with it. But thought we got into a rhythm, and Jameis looked good, and a couple of throws down there in the red area to Mike T on some back shoulders were big plays. So it was good to see him back out there.
Dennis, you remember what you were feeling when Will was lining up for that go-ahead coach?
I felt like he was going to knock it through.
You remember what you were feeling when Koo was lining up for that go-ahead field?
I felt like he was going to miss it. Listen, I think we've had great push, all preseason long on our field goal block, and I told them that, eventually we were going to get one. And, when you get one of those longer field goals, they tend to come out a little bit lower, and we got the block, and it was a big play.
So the benefit of having some of the length you guys had?
Yeah, look, I didn't see exactly what happened, or who got it inside. I just saw that, ball went up in the air, and then it went the other way, and knew we'd won the game.
Yes, when you talk about this team, grittiness and toughness, what did you see to make you see that during training camp?
I just watch them work. You know what I mean? Just watch them work. They come to work every day. Training camp was tough. It was hard. But they fought through it and battled through it, and came to work every day. And that's what I respect about all those guys in that locker room. Yeah, look, Taysom was the offense early on. It was good to see him get back out there. And we've had some success with him running the football against this team. Obviously the explosive run down there was huge, and then to finish it off with the, kind of sweep around the edge. I thought we blocked it pretty well on both those runs, so that was good to see.
Can a win like this do a lot of things because you can play better, but your toughness proves that you can?
Yeah, sure. I think that I think knowing that we were going to be in a lot of these type of situations, I don't think our guys flinched when we found ourselves in those situations. I don't think we executed as well as we needed to in all the different situations, but we did enough to win the game. And it's always easier to make the corrections off a win than it is off a loss. So we're gonna enjoy it, but yet we know there's a lot we got to improve on.
Is that a quarterback where with the pass rush you got to be conservative so that you aren't?
Yeah, look, they do a lot of different stuff in terms of how they attack you on third down. A lot more kind of quarterback movement type plays and things of that nature. So I don't think I was in the best rhythm that I could be in. Don't think I gave our guys as good a chance as I'd like to. I've got to get better in that regard. But our guys bailed us out. A couple of key takeaways, I think. Especially the one that Marcus punched out down there in the red area was huge for our team.
How easy is it to trust Michael Thomas in those big moments where you need him to come up with a play?
Well, look, Sean used to say confidence is born out of demonstrated ability, and so I've seen him do that a million times. And so, yeah, I'm very confident that, if we need a play like that he can come up and make the play, and he did.
Sure, it was nice to see him back.
No, it was great to see him back. He's done everything that we've asked him to do. He's totally bought into this team, and yeah, I'm excited about seeing him out there and making plays, and that's why he's here, and that's what he did.
Can you explain that intentional grounding call?
Yeah, look, when Jarvis went up and caught the ball, I thought he was in bounds, and you can't intentionally ground the ball. You can't clock it when the clock stopped, and so look, I put that again back on me. There were several things there late in the game that I felt like I got to do a better job. So it'll be stuff that we'll look at. It'll be stuff that we'll learn from, and hopefully we'll be better when we're in that situation again.
Can you give an explanation on Marshawn's penalty at the very end?
No, and I saw it, so I wasn't really asking for an explanation, but I thought the game was over. All right, thanks. What up, Lance? Appreciate it.
Myron Davis, Jarvis and Mike and Jameis as well. Oh no.
First of all, I just want to say, man, that was a real God win. I know people know me to be a man of faith, but that was a God win, and I'll tell you why. Before we went out, I talked to the team, and I told them the word says the horse is made ready for battle, but victory comes from God. And that we had did all the preparation. We made the horse ready for battle. We had did all the preparation that we could do. As well as we could prepare, we did that. But before we even stepped on the field, that game was already won. And all we had to do was just go out and play in faith, and we did that. And even down the stretch, it was so many reasons for us to give up and lay down, and so many breaks that went to the other team that were very unfortunate. But I just kept telling the sideline, you can't cheat God. You can't cheat God. So, yeah, man, my spirit is full right now. Also, I want to praise some individual performances. Pete Werner, first of all, man, he played phenomenal. He made a big turnover early in the game. That was a game changer. Just super proud of the work he's put in after having a camp, being banged up, and coming back out and playing lights out like that just all night. He was locked in. Jameis Winston, man, phenomenal leader, man. Me and him were just talking all week. Efficiency is vital, and he did that. He waited till the plays came and down the stretch, man. He marched down the field like one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. Just so proud of his effort. And Mike T, man, not to take away from the rest of that receiver room because they all played phenomenal, but Mike T, after what he's been through the past 2 years, to come out and put together an electrifying performance like that, it's just great to celebrate my brothers when they go out and perform like that. So now the question's open.
How important is it for you to acknowledge select players like this unprompted?
Man, it's an honor to be able to go into battle with these guys each and every day. To know their backstory. A lot of times people just see the performances on the field, but to know their story, it just means so much. Pete coming in, this year with high expectations on him and having to miss so much time in camp, but coming out and playing lights out, forcing a huge turnover in the game and just playing phenomenal all night. Jameis, everybody knows his story, having to come in, sit on the back seat, and then when he gets his chance, leading the team to a 5-2 record and then going down and then coming back. And then the start of the first half of the game is like, we couldn't block those guys and they were getting at him, but he just stayed poised through it all. And, watching him go out and have an efficient performance like that, man, it's beautiful to see, because there were so many times where he could have got rattled. And we know he can have the top numbers in the game. He's done that, but everybody's watching his efficiency, and he went out and did that. He showed it. And then Mike T, man, to be having to go through what he goes through, and nobody puts more into their game than that guy. So I know for him to sit on the sideline was killing him, and for him to come back in week one just like that and ball out is huge. And there's so many other individual performances tonight, but those three guys, man, it was just phenomenal, man, and I just wanted to celebrate them.
Mario, I'm going to ask you about another one. Will Lutz.
Oh, man.
You guys missed him all last year, and then, go figure, like, first game, he's out there with game-winning field goal, 50 yards last minute.
Yeah, I don't want to – man, I don't want to be rude, but we call him Big Lutz. And, man, he was clutch. That's who he is, man. That's all we know. Man, going all the way back when I first got here in 2018, some of the biggest games, watching him make them kicks, it's nothing new. And so that's all we know him to be. And that's another one who's been through, man, you think about the type of adversity this team has been through, that's another one who had to miss a lot of the time. And for him to come back and make big kicks like that down the stretch, even if it didn't start the way he wanted to, but for him to keep his composure and be who he is was just phenomenal. Like I said, there's so many individual performances that we could celebrate.
Were you feeling like confident when he was lining up with that kick?
Come on, man. Do you know who it is? Big Lutz.
What do you learn about the character of the team overall just in a game like this going through?
I mean, it's not uncommon. That's who we are. We're a resilient team. We've always been that. Coming out of everything that we went through last year, and down the stretch playing like that, that's not uncommon for us. And so we knew coming in that this was going to be a challenge for us. They do a lot of good things and got some great athletes, and those great athletes were on display today. So we knew it was going to be a challenge, and coming into this environment is not easy. And so we just knew we had to play good football, and we did enough to get a W. But at the same time, man, it's a God win.
Locker room's open, it's finished, but you guys can use this door, but you know who else we're bringing in here in a second.
All right, be blessed. Who that?
Although I'm going to write. Do I just like
That was incredible. Head coach Dennis Allen talking about how tough this team is. He's been saying it for the past month and a half, but what he said he was really curious about was when this team is faced with adversity, will they come together? How will they react? Well, today, they definitely reacted very well to the adversity that they faced in the first 3 quarters of this game. What did you like about what Dennis Allen was talking about, and then Demario Davis following it up?
Well, one, we don't want to see this kind of adversity every week. That would not be good for the team or anyone else. Second, he just has a team that's a veteran team, a team that he feels is poised. We're not exactly sure yet here in New Orleans what Jameis Winston will do at that quarterback position, because we got accustomed to seeing Drew Brees do it for 15 years. But if today is any indication, he's got the goods when he needs the goods. He's got the receivers when he needs to go to those receivers, and those guys can make plays. We mentioned the lack of chemistry between he and the receivers. That back shoulder touchdown throw to Michael Thomas is a pro throw and a pro catch. And those are things, you see the bit of chemistry coming when you see a play like that, because that does take some timing and that does take some trust. And if you got a Michael Thomas, you got a guy that you know you can put in those positions.
Todd, you had a really good look at this. Tell me about that flag that was over the shoulder of Demario Davis in there.
Which they passed out to every Falcons fan today, and no discredit to them, were waving wildly throughout this ball game because it appeared that they were coasting to a victory. But it was just another Saints-Falcons game. When it's all said and done, throw all records out anything on paper. It doesn't matter. It's usually going to come down to the final 2 minutes, as we saw a year ago, and we saw it here today. I mean, if you think about it, this game here today was almost a carbon copy of what we saw in the Superdome last season. The only difference is the Falcons were able to win that game on a game-winning kick by Younghoe Koo. But remember, the Falcons jumped out to a big lead in that ball game before Trevor Siemian led the comeback and eventually took the lead, and then the Saints gave it up at the end. So it had a lot of deja vu type of feelings here today, but thankfully the Saints were able to pull out the win. By the way, their 5th straight win in this building, Aaron and JD, so this is a place that has been very comfortable to the Saints over the years.
Yeah, since 2009, the Saints are second in the NFL in road victories. They win at a 61% rate on the road, so they're not very bad on the road and definitely not bad there in Atlanta. You mentioned, this rivalry and the emotions that come into this. Head coach Dennis Allen said, enjoy this win tonight, but he said, you need to have rough skin tomorrow. There are a few things that they're definitely going to have to talk about. Some penalties, some of the defense in the first half of the game really was not what we're used to seeing from the Saints.
Saints gave up 200 rushing yards. They don't do that over a 3-game span. So that is something that absolutely has to be cleaned up. You can't win in the NFL giving up 200 rushing yards. And look, the Saints, by all accounts, shouldn't have won this game. They really should not have won this game. Had forced a couple of turnovers, didn't score off of them, gave up 200 rushing yards, couldn't get off the field on 3rd down. There are a ton of things that they did not do well enough to win this game, and yet they were able to get it. So when he says to have thick skin, he means when you come in and look at this film, forget winning this game, because he's going to treat it as if they didn't win this game, because there are a lot of things in this game that were not to be liked, protection-wise, defensive-wise, just a lot of things that the Saints have to rectify before they go into week 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
a
and
lot of
JD,
teaching
I was,
moments.
Reading your tweets throughout the game, but I mean, we have to go back now. We're starting to see a pattern here with the zone read offense, and I mean, you go back to the last 2 years against the Philadelphia Eagles, who basically run the same type of offense that we saw today. The Saints have had all kind of problems stopping. I mean, Cordell Patterson, looked like Jalen Hurts out there today, along with Mariota. I mean, those guys were running at will. The holes were gigantic that we saw, especially in the first half. So, I know we're looking far ahead, but we got to play the Eagles at some point later in the year, and I mean, that's got to get cleaned up, because that has really proven so far to be a kryptonite type of situation for the Saints defense, because like you said, you don't give up 200 yards rushing in 3 games and give up 200 on opening day. I mean, Dennis Allen is a defensive guy, cannot be pleased at all. But you know what, Aaron and JD, it's a coach's dream. You got all kind of stuff to clean up, but you're 1-0.
It's a very, very good point. Overall, the defense allowed 416 yards. There's 201 on the ground, 215 through the air. So not typical for the Saints defense, and I know they're very prideful in what they represent and how good they are. Last year being the #1 rushing defense in the NFL. I will not be surprised if next week's game against the Bucs is really ugly for the Bucs.
Well, they better figure it out, because they're going to see a lot of what they saw today until they stop it. Now, Tom Brady ain't going to zone read. That will not happen. But they can run the ball. They are effective running the ball. They've got great receivers. So a lot of the things you saw in the passing game today, you'll see again defensively if you're the Saints, because you didn't do a very good job of stopping it until the 4th quarter. You will have to see it until you stop it, and so that's what they're going to be dealing with, some of the same things, until they stop it.
And I'd like to add one more thing, and I know we're going to get out of here soon, but we go back to the preseason. The Saints pass rush really has not been able to get to the quarterback. Now, I know it was a little bit of a different offense. You had a mobile pocket, you had a running quarterback, but eventually this defensive line, this front 7 is going to have to start getting to the quarterback, because it's leaving this talented secondary very, very vulnerable. Mariota had a lot of success throwing the ball downfield at times in this game, but a lot of that had to do with we were not pressuring him. We weren't, getting him off his spot. So that pass rush has got to start holding up its own. And like you said, Tom Brady, if you don't pressure him, it is going to be target practice next week. So let's see if that defensive line starts to get pressure on the quarterback.
There were a lot of times in this game where there was like 7 in the box, and the defensive line was definitely committing to trying to prevent the run. Not going to be the same way that they play the Bucs, but it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to limit them in the next game, and then against another mobile quarterback later in the season, because we are going to see the Eagles again. It's going to be something that's going to come up throughout this year. I don't know if we have any more players come in, Todd. Do you know if anyone else is coming in there that we can check in?
They're all in the locker room now, and I know I'm going to sign off saying my heart is still beating like a rabbit. And I made the mistake of checking my phone a little while ago, and I literally have 50 text messages waiting for me. So I'm going to go out on the field and read those texts after a win against the Falcons.
All right, you go take a look around. You know, maybe the last time that they're able to put visitor up there on the scoreboards and answer those text messages, get back here safe.
I mean, it's not going to be the new 28-3, but 26-10 is awful close.
Yeah, that's going to sting a little bit. Yeah, it's not 28-3, but if you're in Atlanta, that's going to sting a little bit. It might not sting the players that much, but it's going to sting the city and the fans a little bit, because, you know, New Orleans is the king or queen of petty. And so it's going to be something that's going to be mentioned, you know, throughout the everlasting time.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to start changing some of the banners around the Superdome instead of the 28-3. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We'll see what happens there. But Todd, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, so the Saints are traveling back from Atlanta tonight. They'll be back in town, apparently having some tough conversations with head coach Dennis Allen, and then they'll start the preparation for the Tampa Bay Bucs next week. We are hoping that we will see Paulson Adebo back on the field next week, but it was really good to see the majority of our team healthy in this game. Impressive stuff from linebacker Pete Werner. Peyton Turner had a really great play at the end of the game. We have not mentioned his name, I don't think, and he was the one who blocked that kick.
Well, until then, I think the only thing to mention about him was I think he jumped offside defensively and immediately had to come off the field. They did not like that. We might be getting Jameis Winston at the podium right now.
All right, well, I don't know. Todd gave us some bad intel, but I think we are going to get quarterback Jameis Winston at the podium shortly. So we'll hang out here and await him. Definitely want to hear his thoughts after this game. But yes, Peyton Turner, he turned things around. Marcus May, safety that the Saints acquired over the offseason, he did have a penalty that was pretty costly at one point, but he really stood out as well. He was second on the team in tackles with 8 total. He had a forced fumble. I was impressed by what he was doing, the activity that he provided. Yeah,
the forced fumble takes points off the boards. That was a red zone forced fumble, and that is always huge in any game when you can keep them off the scoreboard. And even though the Saints didn't cash that in and score themselves, they were able to keep the Falcons from scoring in that situation. And the game was probably kind of getting away at that point. So to be able to keep those points off the board turned out to be critical. We knew that he and Tyrann Mathieu were going to be valuable additions. They started this game, and he was able to get that. In fact, he does the punch out. Tyrann Mathieu is the guy who comes up with the recovery. So you get your 2 new safeties in that situation where they combine for that forced turnover. Turns out to be huge in the grand scheme of things. Things don't look so big at the time because of the deficit. Then you rewind and you say, you know what? That turned out to be real big because the Saints at that point hadn't really shown that they could stop much of anything the Falcons were doing. The Falcons were in position to go and score another touchdown. If they scored that touchdown, this game might be over.
Those were critical plays down the stretch. Absolutely. I liked the play from Mathieu as well. He made his presence known. Great to see them in their debuts with the Saints. We also saw Chris Olave's first reception as a Saint. We saw Jarvis Landry's first reception. And then Michael Thomas, I mean, he picked up right back where he left off in 2019 as this game went on. Yeah,
he's just a situation where they're going to have to build up the chemistry and the trust, the timing, because Michael Thomas is one of those guys. He's open when he's not open. And so even if he's covered, you throw it to him because he positions himself so well. He's so strong. He's got the great hands, and you can trust him in those situations. So you can obviously throw him those passes, whether it be back shoulder or whether it just be a 50-50 pass where you trust him to win it. Jarvis Landry coming up with that catch in the last catch on the last drive was just so significant, not just because it was a deep catch, but again, it's an acrobatic catch, which is one of the reasons that he's in the NFL, one of the things he's famous for. And then he comes up with that catch to give this team an opportunity to get in the field goal position to kick that game winner. Just a huge play by him. One of the things you expected out of him when they signed him, one of the things that you need from him, because him being that way, you alleviate some of the pressure on Michael Thomas. You alleviate some of the pressure on Chris Olave. You alleviate some on Alvin Kamara, who, oh, by the way, unfortunately ended up going to the locker room later in that game. So we'll monitor that situation as we go along. But now you've got 3 receivers that you feel really good about if you're the Saints. And that's not to knock the guys who played last year, but they're not the caliber of these 3 guys, which is why everyone waited with such anticipation for Michael Thomas to not be injured and to get back on the field.
Michael Thomas didn't have his first reception until the second half in this game. He ended up with 5 receptions for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns there in the fourth quarter. So really big production from him as the game went on. You talked about the receivers from last year. The Saints were last in the passing game last year. It was not pretty. And Alvin Kamara led the team in receptions and rushing yards, receiving yards and rushing yards as a back. And he missed 4 games due to injury. So the fact that he led in both categories and didn't play an entire season just speaks to the offense that we had last year and the productivity from all options with the injuries that we had, and now the boost that there will be this year with Landry, Olave, Michael Thomas back, and Ingram and AK.
Yeah, you couldn't get any continuity last year. When you're talking about 4 quarterbacks, it's hard to get continuity. It went through Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, and also Ian Book. And if you got 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFL in one season, that's just difficult to overcome. It's difficult to establish any kind of continuity and chemistry. And then Michael Thomas doesn't play. And then you've got the receiving core that you have. And it just didn't work. It just made it a tough way to go for the entire season to be able to get anything going in the passing game. And by the way, we forget the offensive line got beat up. And so it was hard to protect those guys. So hopefully, if you can keep those pieces intact, the line, the quarterback, the receivers, which is a lot to ask over the course of an NFL season, but if you can keep them intact, you can establish that continuity and that chemistry. We've got Jarvis Landry, I believe, coming to the podium right now to speak postgame.
Firstly, it's a good win. It's a good win. It's good to be out there. We congratulated DA, but walking off the field, I told him, like, he really put us in these situations in training camp, you know. I think this was an opportunity to see all of that translate and come to life. Like, I don't think for an instant we budged, you know, even on 3rd and short, you know. Yeah, and we won. So we start there, but yeah, we can go from there. With Jameis. With Jameis. Yeah.
Fourth quarter, with Jameis and no starters over that fourth quarter, it seemed like it was
Yeah, it was exciting, man. We was able to get in like a little 2-minute, you know, hurry up type of offense, and Juwan started it off, man. Great play coming out off the kickoff, and from there we just kind of kept on moving the ball down the field. I think 3 or 4 plays, and then Mike does what he does in the red zone, making big plays, and from there we just moved on, and defense got another stop. We was able to go out there, do it again, and defense again come up big, you know, when we needed it, and that's what it's about.
Some of the throws you made, including the one you had a couple of Mike that were like, you know, jaw dropping, but the one you gave to you there in that final drive.
No, absolutely, man. Big time players make big time plays. Like, that's not like a statement that's just, you know, that's not real. You know, that's very real. You know, and shout out to both of those guys too. You know, this is their first game back on the field in a while. You know what I mean? And they made it plays when we needed them the most. And that's what we're gonna need all year.
Jarvis, how did you go into that hurry up and open things up for you guys on offense?
Yeah, we were down 16. You know, with not a lot of time, and we were just trying to put something together. Like I said, it started with Juwan's catch on their sideline, and then that led us to get into a 2-minute situation with like 12 minutes to go, and you know, from there we just marched the ball down the field.
Did you feel that momentum building as you got like a little bit of rhythm going as an offense?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we understood the situation. Again, DA has done a great job of, you know, kind of helping us, kind of put us in those situations. But at the end of the day, we knew that it was going to be one play at a time. And we had to make plays, and I think that's what every guy did. You know, we didn't blink, we didn't budge, and we just made plays.
And with you guys kind of maybe being new together as an offense, like, what do you learn about the team's character
Yeah, we definitely got to play better in the first half. But, that second half was championship effort, and that's what it's going to take, even in the regular season, and we practice that way. Like I said, DA has done a great job. These guys, work as hard as they can week in, week out, preparing, you know what I mean, throughout the training camp, just seeing the type of men we have in the locker room, the type of leaders, the type of culture that's here, that's part of why we won that game, for sure.
Hey, Jarvis, DA talked about how gritty and tough this team is, even before the season started. Is that something you saw when you got here?
Absolutely. They practice crazy. DBs tackling receivers, linebackers punching the ball out 30 yards down the field. It feels like a game practicing out there, but I think that's the culture that I'm talking about. That's the type of stuff that gets you better each and every day, that type of intent.
What's it been like seeing Mike work his way back?
It's been impressive. It's been impressive. I've always known about Mike, and then obviously to see him work his way through training camp, being from limited reps, not supposed to do one-on-ones, still jump into one-on-ones. The type of competitive spirit that he has is something that this team thrives on. When we get to the red zone tonight, and he made those two touchdowns for us when we needed them. Covered, making contested catches, and that's who we know him to be, and he looked like he in that type of form again. So.
Do you want those passes, or you go ahead and take them?
Who?
To Mike.
No. Listen, we all make plays. And Mike is a special talent. When we get down there, a guy like that deserves to get the ball in his hands. You know what I mean? So, and he's doing the most with it. So that's what it's about. And that's what it's about.
Did you see the route Olave ran on the 2-point conversion?
Absolutely.
What did you think of it?
Man, I think he played a hell of a game. For a rookie, I think his composure was there. I think he was getting open a lot. He's going to be a guy that we're going to lean on for sure. Not just on 2-point conversions, but he's going to make plays for us. The man's here, right? All right. See y'all. Peace.
Heart rate come down yet?
Oh, my heart rate was smooth the whole way. You could check my whoop. DA told us we had to be patient, but we don't got to be that patient.
What was it like for you, Jameis, there in that fourth quarter when you guys really started putting you and the receivers inside just the offense in general?
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting, and we just got to find a way to get there quicker, and that's what we're going to be dissecting this next week. How can we get there quicker? How can we get better? How can we start faster as a team?
Earlier this week, when you were talking about Mike, you just have to put it near him and he'll grab it. Do you feel that happen?
Absolutely. Well, I told y'all too. I was like, man, this is gonna be our first time together. We got to get things going. And then, as you see, as the game started going away, we start getting on the same page, and we start and it's the communication. It's communication on the sideline, it's communication throughout the week. And I'm just so happy that we as an offense, we all started to click at the right time.
What is it about kind of going in that 2-minute mode that helped you kind of settle in, and you felt like you guys were really in rhythm at that point?
Well, it was we knew we were passing the ball. Right, so we knew we were passing the ball. So just the approach to hey, boom, 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 here we go, boom, 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 here we go. So you get into that rhythm of knowing hey, these are where my completions at, these are where my matchups at, and you just go like that. It's not no game plan involved. Hey, this is the defense that we're gonna get. Let's go and play.
James, can you figure out why things were a little bit tougher going the first 3 quarters?
Just trying to get a feel. When you playing against a division opponent, obviously they did a great job self-scouting themselves out. We had some things that we thought that was going to come that didn't. They did the opposite, right? So we just got to continue to prepare, continue to get better, and man, I'm just happy with the resilience that our team possessed in the continuous fight. We never gave up, and we just kept battling.
And what is it like going through your mind when Will Watson is not for
Oh, I knew Illa was going to hit it. The preparation he had. I mean, he had some adversity last year, overcoming some injuries and bouncing back, man. So I know he was hungry for another opportunity, and he executed.
What could a gritty win like this do for you guys, knowing it's in Atlanta against the Falcons? No, it's just one game, but what does it do for you guys moving forward?
Man, every win matters. It's tough to win in this football league, and every win matters. So I'm happy that we were able to come and squeeze out one here. I just think he's a phenomenal receiver, man. He adds to he complements Mike so well. He got our first big third down conversion. I mean, coming out of halftime, we got him in that ball, man. He executed and did a lot of things. He's a dog, man. He's always ready for his opportunity, and I'm blessed to have him as a teammate.
How important is it just for overall confidence? Most of you guys are kind of like all new with you, just to go out there and make plays with them and know next week, you already did this one time before.
Yeah, I think just the whole field as offense. It's good to see, what we're capable of and learn from a win. We got so much that we can learn from, especially at the beginning of the game. But those guys, they know the talent that they are. Our coaches do a great job of putting them in great situations, putting us in great situations. We just got to execute better at the beginning.
What did you learn about your team today?
We're resilient. I mean, I knew that about us, but we were able to show it. We acted upon it, and we're a resilient team. We fight our butts off, and that shows our head coach. Our head coach instills that in us. That's the way we practice. That's the way we approach each day. So I was happy that we were able to. Personally, I was happy that our team got a chance to see what we really had inside us. We never gave up, and we won when we needed to. It means a lot to me, man. This is home to me. Atlanta, I'm an hour and 30 minutes away from this place. Coming here, I know I got a lot of Winstons out there in the stands, man. Bouncing back, me and Taysom both. We said at the beginning of the game, like, hey, man, I remember the last time we was here, me and him was in the locker room watching our team win, and then San Francisco ended up beating LA, and they kind of kicked us out of the playoffs. So we was like, man, we've been waiting for this opportunity to be right here in this position, and he had a heck of a day, and we were able to squeeze out a good win.
On the final drive to Jarvis, he was kind of talking about his day.
Just big time players make big time plays in big time situations. Just a great matchup that we like. They played a 2-man under coverage, and Jarvis got on top of the defender and went up there and made a heck of a catch.
You gonna keep the long hair after now you're back on the field?
I mean, I ain't worried about this hair. I promise you, man. I'm focused on next week and getting better. How can we improve? How can we find the things? How can we eliminate the negatives and build on the positives? No, Alvin is selfless. Like we're not worried about who getting fed or anything. We worry about winning, right? Obviously, we wanted to start faster, and I know that's going to be a big topic of discussion when we meet tomorrow. So we're going to have to bite our tongue and just go in it and learn and listen and open up to everything that the coaches have to present to us and get better.
How much confidence does it give you as a quarterback knowing that defense can go out there and get the ball back to you?
Excellent confidence. It makes me, not try to push the ball early in the game, knowing that, like, hey, when we need to push the ball down the field, we can depend on our defense to get us a stop so we can get the ball back in our hands.
James, what were some of those things you were expecting to see from him that maybe they didn't show?
Well, we had a good beat that one of their backs was going to be their most primary pressure element, and he didn't pressure a lot, and that's the only thing.
Anything else for Jameis?
All right, thank you.
As we wait for Mike Thomas, reminder tomorrow, Coach Allen at 3 o'clock, followed by
That was quarterback Jameis Winston saying that big time players make big time plays, and one of those big time players in today's game was wide receiver Michael Thomas. And here he is.
Man, it was a blessing just to be back out there with the guys, put on a uniform, contribute and add value, help this team move the chains, and add my hand into the pile for a victory. It was amazing feeling.
After your legs, like riding a bike, getting back out there?
When you're surrounded by great players and great coaches, a great organization, all you have to do is just, when your number's called, make your play. And I wish I could have made more. I feel like I left a couple plays out there, but we'll watch the film, we'll get that corrected, and we'll come back and do better.
Mike, you've seen Will make a bunch of big kicks. Y'all's time together. Everybody's been saying they just felt like, all right, whatever, he's going to make this.
Yeah, I told him I needed him. We knew it was going to come down to, it was a close game, how we were playing it the whole day. And I told him I needed him, and he responded well. And that's the good thing when you're surrounded by a bunch of great teammates and great players. Everyone, if we do our job and contribute, sky's the limit. We can win them all.
Could you feel it like start to turn for y'all when you just kind of started stringing a couple positive plays together in that fourth quarter then? Like, you kind of feel it going y'all's way at that point?
Yeah, for sure. When we came out at halftime, we knew we were getting the ball back. we knew we were completely honest with ourselves. We knew we were leaving our defense out there on the field too long, too many 3-and-outs, and we took accountability, and we looked each other in the eyes, and we knew what time it was. Our team needed us, and we needed to respond, and we needed to find a way to win this game, and that's what we did, and that's where the effort came from.
Mike, what did it just feel like to get in that end zone after the last year and everything?
Oh, man. It was lost for words, honestly. Just to be able to get in the end zone, add points for my team, contribute to a victory here. Week 1, right off. Coach always preaches getting off to a fast start. As a whole, as an offense, we didn't get completely off to a fast start, but it's not always how you start, it's how you finish, and I took pride in that, and when my team needed me, and when the ball came my way, I wanted to take full accountability to make a play.
And Mike, you tossed the ball with instinct, but just instinct that you kind of wish you kept that one since it's the first one.
Actually, they threw it back, so I do have it, but I actually had a lot of thoughts in my head on how I would probably celebrate, but knowing the situation of the game, and you can't get any penalties there, or you don't want to get anything to hurt this team, so kept it simple and put points on the board. We came back, got 2, and then we got on the roll.
Save those celebrations for later.
Yeah, I might just keep them for the dome. I feel like they'll rather give our crowd some excitement rather than on the road too. So I was thinking about that too.
Speaking of that, it seemed like Saints fans traveled pretty well for this game. Was that a factor for y'all? Did y'all notice that?
For sure. They always do. Who Dat Nation is great. They support us well. They travel well. We know how much this rivalry means to us. It's a division game. This team plays us tough year in and year out. We know each other well. So the big thing was just coming out there, executing and winning the game. And then also congratulations to DA for his first win as a Saints coach. That's amazing. That was a big deal for me too, just to get him started off on the right foot and get this thing rolling and keep it going.
What can you say about DA and the way that he coached today and how that the result from that?
He did great. He's been great since we put him in position to be the head coach. He's been a great leader. He's told us what he's expecting from us, and we've just been trying to deliver week in and week out. And I love playing for him, and I can't wait to get more wins and hopefully get them to a Super Bowl.
Mike, you feel for how you guys can all fit together when you're fully in rhythm and how good that might be?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry, Jawan, Hardy, list goes on, Callaway, all these guys, AK, Mark, the list goes on and on and on. Once we calm down and play with patience and do our job, execute like Coach talks about, and having precision and locking in on the details is, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it really is sky's the limit. So that was just a little taste. I feel like that was just a little taste. If you ask me and the guys from the receiver group, we'll probably say we didn't get started to the second half. So, that was a lot of football we let get away in the first half. So once we're trying to play a complete game. So once we start fine-tuning that and look at the mistakes we made and how we could get better and build and catch a rhythm, I think that's when we could really talk about what it can be. Because right now, we're all capable of getting open, making a play, but these guys, we guys haven't seen anything yet.
Like there was earlier in the week, you were saying you were looking forward to showing what you were going to do. Is this kind of what you had in mind?
No, I still have a lot more. Man. When I come into games and the ball's thrown to me, I'm trying to make every play, make every catch. So that's definitely not my standard. A little rusty to me. So, but the biggest thing is being able to add value and put points on the board and help my team win a game and come back. All those things are what really matter. But from an individual standpoint, I still have more work to do.
Good. Anything else from Michael?
Thank you. Thanks.
That's all right, though?
Yep, that's it. Safe trip back, everybody. You too.
Yeah.
That is officially all of the Saints we're going to hear from today. It was an amazing 17-point fourth quarter. No points scored by the Falcons to give the Saints the win in this one. It was a lot of emotions, not a lot of them good until that fourth quarter. JD and all the players talked about it. They need to have better starts in this one. Execution needs to be taken up another level. Anything else that you want to touch on after this one?
No, I mean, the thing is, now you know that now that you've done it, you know you have it if you have to have it. You don't want to put yourself in that position ever again, but if you've got to have it, you can have it because you know it's there. Biggest thing is the Saints saw what they're capable of if they play complete complementary football. Only did it for one quarter and were able to win this game. So if they can package that up and carry it over 4 quarters, then they should be in much better position. Maybe not win, but a lot better position than they were today.
Wide receiver Michael Thomas saying, we just got a taste of what the Saints are going to do this season in that 4th quarter. Hopefully we will see the whole package, the entire game from start to finish next week, because the Saints, they'll be right here in New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome. That game is at 12 o'clock. Again, it is a noon kick. It'll be on Fox. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you can watch it there. And of course, we'll be here for the pregame show at 11 a.m. and then we'll be back post-game. You can always watch that on NewOrleansSaints.com. But that game is against the Tampa Bay Bucks, so another division rival. Would like to start things out 2-0. Why not?
Yeah, you don't want to start out this way against them. You don't want to spot them a 26-10 lead. But the Saints have had more success against Tampa Bay than anyone the last couple of seasons, especially regular season, where they basically beat up Tom Brady in that offense. So they feel like they have a good recipe. They won't have to deal with the zone read. They won't have to deal with a mobile quarterback. So hopefully defensively, knowing where the quarterback is will help out some. Now, of course, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, so we'll see how much that does help.
Hey, their offensive line is a little depleted right now, though. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be in our favor, especially because the Saints didn't have any sacks in this game. And I know that line, our line, is going to take that personally. And maybe it might be at Brady's expense on next Sunday. We'll see. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a 27-26 win for the Saints over the Atlanta Falcons. Great way to start the season with a victory for head coach Dennis Allen in his first coaching job as the head coach officially. Full-time head coach, because he's done it before in the past against the Bucks. And yeah, it was a great win. We appreciate y'all joining us. We're going to take a look at some of the highlights, send you off with the good points of this ball game, and we'll see you here next Sunday.
Hill takes the snap, inside the 10, the 5, touchdown! We're down at 5. Mariota escapes, inside the 10, the 5, fumble, ball comes loose. Winston on 1st and goal to the end zone, touchdown, Michael Thomas. Drive for the Saints. As Winston fires, and it's caught by Landry. Winston on 1st and goal to the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Thomas.